K-팝의 제왕 BTS가 아리랑 투어를 위해 스탠포드에 마침내 입성했습니다. 스탠포드 경기장은 이미 전 세계 아미들을 맞이할 만반의 준비를 마쳤으며 벌써부터 잊지 못할 세 번의 밤이 예고되어 있습니다. 그에 앞서 멕시코 시티에서 열린 3일간의 마법 같은 공연은 국경과 언어의 장벽을 완전히 허물어뜨렸습니다. 도시 전체가 마비될 정도의 그 경이로운 열기는 멕시코 역사상 가장 거대한 규모의 팬 모임 중 하나로 기록되며 전 세계를 놀라게 했습니다. 이제 그 시선은 미국을 넘어 세계 최고의 지성들이 모인다는 실리콘밸리의 심장, 스탠포드 대학교로 향하고 있습니다. 보수적이고 학구적인 분위기로 가득했던 이곳이 지금 140년 역사상 단 한 번도 본 적 없는 거대한 지각 변동에 직면했습니다. 오직 5월 스탠포드 스타디움을 가득 채울 BTS의 공연을 앞두고 말입니다. 최근 스탠포드의 교수진 역시 이 현상에 경탄을 금치 못하고 있습니다. 특히 BTS가 지금 스탠포드와 미국 사회 전반에 미치는 막강한 영향력과 학술적인 관점에서 바라본 그들의 성공 비결에 대해 자유롭게 토론하는 영상이 공개되어 화제를 모으고 있는데요. 해당 영상 함께 보겠습니다.
Since the BTS concerts are coming up very, very soon at Stanford, Vegas, or wherever you might be watching it, we wanted to host this call for folks that might be new to BTS or longtime ARMY and going to the concert. We only have about an hour, but we wanted to talk about BTS, zoom out to look at the significance of this moment from a high level perspective, talk about their origin story, the meaning of the army and the power of it, and then finally the album Arirang.
My students. And yeah, I mean, I would say in the last 20 years, if you look at the kinds of jobs that have come up in Korean studies across the world, but especially in North America, there's been a focus on Korean popular culture, Korean media. And so universities and deans are kind of recognizing that that is kind of what's driving enrollment in classes and seeking out faculty who can teach these big classes that fill up, again, fill seats. And more faculty are turning to Korean popular culture, whether it's, the industry, whether it's fandom, whether it's media, whether it's performance and music. So there are just amazing folks doing work in those areas.
Arirang. There's one song called Aliens where RM he has this line where he raps. It's pardon Kim-gu Songse-nim, tell me how you feel. And this is addressing Kim-gu, the independence leader who in 1947, which is right after 35 years of Japanese colonization, after World War II, when Korea was decimated and it was deemed one of the poorest countries on earth. Kim-gu wrote that his wish for Korea wasn't to be the richest or most powerful nation, but to have the power of a highly developed culture. Because the power of culture both makes us happy and gives happiness to others. And here we are in 2026, with BTS alone moving nearly 0.5% of Korean GDP and the Hallyu K-culture in total rivaling major industrial sectors for Korea, the Korean economy. What do you think it means that a vision written in the ashes of colonization has actually become something this measurable? What does Kim-gu's dream look like when it comes true?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you are standing in a stadium with 50, 60, 70,000 people, and you look around and you see just the incredible diversity, race, gender, socioeconomic diversity that's around you. And everyone is singing in Korean, and this incredible spirit in that's all around you. I mean, it's so moving, and kind of mind-boggling at the same time. I mean, I think that I still sort of pinch myself and think, how did this happen? So it's just an incredibly powerful thing, and really quite amazing still after all these years to witness that. So I mean, that just speaks for itself. I mean, I think that there's no question that right? BTS and other, other successful groups have really set the standards for excellence in performance, and and so this is the kind of these are acts that are really, as I said, kind of have changed the field. And but I think that also they have and they feel a huge responsibility also for what that means. So on the one hand, yes, it signals an incredible success story that is you feel it, on your skin. But also, I think again, there's a lot of kind of responsibility for, where to go from here. What does, if this is sort of a gateway to Korea, then what does that mean? How does the kind of this mix of genres and styles communicate what it does about Korea? And let's not forget, I mean, there's so many groups, so many young talent, other young talent that's kind of vying for that same kind of attention and space. So I think if anything, it just keeps begging the question of, first of all, how did this happen? How did BTS get to be to this point? But also how to understand the particular kind of authenticity and the kind of candid performance that they communicate. So for me, it always kind of generates more questions, not as many answers perhaps, but a lot of questions, and it's just an incredibly moving thing to witness.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's amazing that it's just kind of happened within the past 75, from 1947 to where we are today in 75 years, like our parents have like lived through this time, and just to kind of, I think it's just mind blowing to see the success and where it's kind of gone. Um, and just I kind of related to this, like I heard that like the BTS effect has had a huge impact on Korean language learning. I mean, can you speak to this? Like, as in your capacity as a professor of Korean literature at Stanford or as the director of the summer immersion camp, the Korean Language Village?
Yeah, so the language, first of all, the content classes that myself and my other and literature and other kind of content classes filling up, 300 seats quite easily. And so content has been content classes have been really shaped by this. But language is the place where we really see the impact most strongly. So there's a report that comes out every 5 years from the Modern Languages Association, MLA, about enrollments across higher education in North America. And the statistics are just astounding. I mean, every single language, sadly, is seeing a dramatic drop from year to year, except for Korean. So we have the latest report that came out in 2021. It'll be interesting to see if this continues, because I've started to hear that maybe it's flattening, it's stagnating a bit. But Korean is up now 38% over the last 5 years, while every other language is seeing a dramatic drop in enrollments. In terms of actual numbers, Korean is still small, of course, compared with Chinese and Japanese and Spanish and German and other languages. But the trend is really
Something else. And so, what do you think it is about BTS's music and their lyrics and the way that they talk about mental health and belonging that's kind of made ARMY not just a fan base, but like a real community? What do you think these seven young men offer that make people feel seen?
Scholarship of the scholars that have written about this, that there's an authenticity, they're candid voices, there's a lack of pretense. So I think this is all part of the kind of I mean, I think that there's a lot of like deliberate thought and care that is taken, and a kind of they really make an effort to have it come directly from the heart. And that communicates. So I think it's not something, you can't really fool people.
The signal that BTS chose Arirang specifically as their comeback title.
So, like I mentioned before in like a video of mine on TikTok, Arirang is not a singular song. I think Arirang is a heritage, right? There are like 3,000 different Arirangs across Korea. And even the three most known Korean like Arirangs, I think the Miryang Arirang and like the Gyeonggi Arirang and like there's one other I'm just not coming to it. They all sound very different, right? And so Arirang is not really a singular song. It's basically this cultural heritage that people have, evolved, adapted and adjusted based on, where they come from, their community. It is this thing that you pass down to the next generation, and you just kind of hold it for a part until the next person comes along. It's described as the something called 흙의 노래, song of the soil. So it's the people song. It's the quintessential folk heritage. So Arirang is not just this one thing, and I think that's where I feel like the significance is that they're kind of affirming their place as their place in this greater history of Korean music, and I think it's also their acknowledgement of their Korean roots, obviously, but also this sense that we are now preparing to pass this torch to somebody else. And that was how it was all about. We were never going to be the heads or the representatives of Korean music. That was not what this was about. This was about basically, giving a chance, giving a better chance, giving a brighter future for the next generation of musicians. And I think that was where the significance was of Arirang is for their choice in the theme, whether they intended it or not. Yeah.
If I can just jump in, one of the things that was that caught my attention that was so interesting, I was talking about this with my friend the other day, when you watch the documentary, is actually that because they talk quite a lot about how this is going to pan out.
멕시코의 50만 대란도 대단했지만 세계 최고의 수재들이 한국의 노래를 연구하고 한국어 가사를 분석하며 한국 문화를 통해 미래를 설계하는 이곳 스탠포드의 풍경은 차원이 다른 전율을 선사합니다. 이제 K-팝은 단순한 엔터테인먼트를 넘어 전 세계 지성인들의 공통 언어가 되었습니다. 오는 5월 스탠포드 스타디움을 짙은 보랏빛 물결로 수놓을 이 광경은 대한민국 문화 영토가 어디까지 확장되었는지를 보여주는 가장 역사적인 이정표가 될 것입니다. 오늘의 소식이 자랑스러우셨다면 구독과 좋아요 부탁드립니다. 지금까지 글로벌 이슈를 전해드리는 단독 튜브였습니다. 감사합니다.